Meredith Show. So thrilled to have our guest Daniel Kilburn with us today. Welcome, Daniel. Tell everybody where home is for you.
Well, thank you very much, Meredith. Currently, I'm in Mountain View, California.
Not too far from me in not so sunny Los Angeles today. It's an absolute treat to have you. And if people at home are meeting you for the first time, they should know that you're not only a consultant, author, and coach who's dedicated yourself to providing the most reliable solutions for disaster management, but you've also retired from the U.S. Army, and we are so thankful for your service.
Well, thank you very much, Meredith.
A lot of your time spent in the Army, by the way, which I think is a really fun fact, was in what we call instructional design, mission accomplishment, and also you were very, very created to leadership, to creating strong leaders, which is a huge passion of mine. So we share that in common for sure. And that's what brings us together today, because no guest on the show comes on unless they're up to something amazing in the world that I think is important and that I know people will share your passion for. So thank you so much for being willing to share your story today. I'm excited.
Well, great. I'm ready to get going here. Let's get with it. Yes.
Let's go to it. Okay. You have a passion right now in the second season of your life for helping people with what we call disaster management. So that is actually, for me, when you first shared it with me, a little bit unusual and certainly at minimal unique. But that's because you had an experience back in the 80s that really made a mark on you. And I'm not going to tell people what it was, but if you would like to tell people what happened, we would love to explain how you launched into this career later in life.
Well, it was October of '89, and it was the Loma Prieta earthquake. At that time, I was living in Monterey, California, and I was an all-around cook in a private school. And it's dinner time. I'm walking to the ovens with a big tray of halibut steaks, and somebody picks the building up 50 feet in the air and bounces it to the ground. And
Wow.
fish was flying everywhere. Everybody's on their backside. Glasses are breaking and falling. I'm going, is this an earthquake?
Oh my goodness.
So that's how it got started, because I was very happy that day, believe it or not, because my wife and my daughter were out of state visiting family.
Wow.
And I had no idea what to do.
Oh my goodness. I don't know that I would have either, to be honest. And I grew up in California. I remember when I was very little doing earthquake drills. I don't even know if they do this anymore, where you're told to go under a table.
Mhm.
But beyond that, or I think it was at that time, walk into a doorway as well. That's a very minimal preparation. And quite frankly, I don't even know if the rules are the same. What do you say about that?
Well, the concept there is you don't want anything falling on your head. So the idea is to take cover under a table in the doorway, which is a little more sturdier than just in the middle of the building and under the ceiling. Those remain the same. That stuff does remain the same. What is also the same is finding education on how you can actually deal with this, what you need to do, prepare for it before, during, and after. It's still like just a big checklist. Get a kit, don't let anything fall on your head, get some water, have a plan. So that's what I do. I help people plan.
Well, speaking of plans, the thing is, we never know when something scary or unexpected is coming in a disaster. And disasters look like different things. They could be, in the Midwest more frequently, perhaps the tornado. And one thing that you say that is, I didn't realize, the disaster of all disasters, meaning the most frequent one that we deal with, is a fire. So tell me how frequently that happens.
Well, a lot of people, when they think of disasters, we're always focused on earthquakes, hurricanes, wildfires, tornadoes, and what have you. But what people don't know is one of the number one man-made disasters that is preventable is a house fire. In other words, don't burn your house down. People don't know about this because it's not on the news all the time. It's not like, the big fire hit. If the state of Texas was burning down, of course, it would be on the news, but individual house fires are not well reported except regionally in the community. Unfortunately, over the course of a year, more people perish to house fires than all natural disasters combined. And that's like 2,000%. But we don't know it. So it's important to start your plan, preparing yourself, your family, your loved ones to prevent the fire. And if there is a fire, to deal with it, get out of the house.
When you put it in that perspective, I'm just going to repeat that. So 2000% more likely that you're going to have a fire than any other disaster. Did I hear that correctly?
No, that's the number of fatalities because of house fires.
Oh my
Accor-
goodness.
Opposed to natural disasters. I know, of course, we hear, okay, 100 and something people died in Florida just with a recent hurricane. Tragic. One person is tragic. But over the last week, I can do a head count of body counts into like 2 or 3 dozen just within the last month nationally on house fires. And this is a yearly thing. It goes on all year.
Well, as a former news reporter, I do really trust that to be the truth, because we cover these so often, the fatal fires where, not just our loved ones, even our pets don't make it out. And what you really struck a chord with me is I don't even know if we have something to put out a fire under the sink in my home. I know at work you always have those reliable things. And what's interesting, and I always love to discuss with people who are passionate about whatever you're passionate about, is like, what happens if you do nothing? Well, if you weren't out there educating people, theoretically, the most common disaster that could be handled efficiently or save a life goes untreated, unprepared for. And ultimately, as you said, that can lead to death. I mean, that just hit me because I'm not a drama queen. I'm very grounded. I'm down to earth. But, there's nothing more precious to us than our lives. And to take care of our loved ones is a choice or not. So what would it look like? And how do you help people navigate these plans? Because again, I've never met anybody who does this.
Well, it's a series of events, actually. The first one is you want to gather information regionally within your community. Who's your fire department? Who do I need to call? Is there any available resources within your community? And the fire department is the best place to start for fire safety. Then you want to have the conversation with your family. We want to sit down and talk about this. We don't want to have dad or mom, I have a plan, but no one else knows about it, because dad or mom, you might not be home when you need to plan. Okay.
So true.
So we need to involve the children, anyone living in the household. And then we develop the plan of how we're going to evacuate the home. If we're going to have to fight a fire, how we're going to fight that. And the number one cause of fires throughout the course of the year, holidays notwithstanding, is kitchen fires. So that is the highest propensity of fires that happen are in your kitchen. So that would be the best place to have your fire extinguisher, your fire blanket, your devices to put out a fire. Now, normally a kitchen fire is a grease fire on your stove. The easiest way to put that out is pick that lid up and put it back on top of the skillet and turn the gas off. That's the best way to put that fire out. Do not pick it up and try to move it. No.
What about throwing water on it?
Definitely not. Oh, absolutely not.
Definitely not. See, that's something I think a lot of people would think. It's unbelievable how undereducated we all are. And so I appreciate these tips, but in general, there's a bigger plan to be made as well, right?
Absolutely. The biggest plan is to safeguard your family, the health and wellness, the welfare of your family, because there's the benefits, the physical benefits. Protect yourselves, right? Unfortunately, firefighting by the household creates about 33% of the injuries to people from fighting a fire because they don't know how to do it. You mentioned throwing water on it. Here's the downside to water. You throw this water on it, the water pushes the grease away. It explodes because there's what in water? There's a lot of oxygen. Okay. And you could spread that fire because now you're blowing it up against the back wall of your stove and what have you. So that's just bad. You want to smother the fire. That's the best way, is to remove the air from it.
Yeah, I will tell you that I have a very scarring childhood memory of trying to bake something while my parents were out, setting it on fire, them showing up with the fire department there, resulting in needing a new oven. Thank God it didn't spread and I didn't open it back up when I saw what was happening, but very scary business. And I didn't even remember that actually until we were discussing it today. Thank God everybody was okay, but it's a big price you pay for not being prepared. So I imagine that you have some good deeds to do in the world. Also, you mentioned this time of year, we happen to be, as we're talking today, although any time is good to be prepared for disaster, in what we call a holiday season. So periodically throughout the year, you do your good deed and give the gift of education. Tell us about that.
Well, throughout the course of the year, I promote what I call my house fire safety training. And these are small little snippets, an hour and a half, free online Zoom training, where you can come in. We'll go over the process of things you need to do to look at your house to prepare it, to prevent the fire. Same thing we just talked about, how to evacuate the house, what type of tools you might need, who you need to talk to. It's all the same. The interesting thing during the Christmas holidays is there's a rise in fires because it's cold outside. People have heat on, people have Christmas trees that are drying out, people have fireplaces going, there's candles burning. So there are more house fires during the holiday seasons as opposed to the rest of the year.
Given from the seasoned TV journalist, I know that unfortunately to be too true. And so then I would like to say the most important thing people can do is just email you if they want to find out about your free workshop or have a consultation for if you're a good fit, right?
Oh, absolutely. They can reach me in several different ways. My email address, daniel@danielkilburn.com, real simple. If you wanted to just book an event right away with me, you can go to talkwithdaniel.com. It'll take you to my calendar page. You can schedule a talk right then and there.
Awesome. Well, that's so helpful. I want to thank you for being a standout shine, because I think a lot of people always ask me when I talk about spreading shine in the world. I think it's different for everybody. We're all up to a different, beautiful game, and that's the beauty of life. But for you, you're literally helping people be prepared for the unexpected. And I'd like to end with some wisdom you shared with me earlier. There is an analogy about investing in disaster preparedness that you can share that really kind of tied it all up for me, if you wouldn't mind, as we close out this segment.
So are we talking about the insurance policy thing? Well, that's the way I look at it. We all have insurance. You have insurance for your car, you have insurance for your health, you have insurance in your house, and I would guarantee you're not planning on using any of those policies, are you? Having a plan of action for an emergency or disaster is akin to an insurance policy. I hope and I pray that no one ever has to use them. And the bottom line is, if you need it, it's best to have it than have it and not need it.
Yes, so true. Thank you so much for being a stand for caring, for taking care of our loved ones and more safety in the world and preparedness. And it's just kind of heartwarming to know you're out there, Daniel, and that you're so easy to reach and approachable. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Meredith Show. And thank you for showing up in the second season of your life with so much care.
Well, thank you for having me, Meredith. I accept the compliment, and I thank you for all the wonderful things you are doing with sharing other people's shines in the world.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you soon, Daniel. For
Okay.
now, wherever you are watching at home, take a little bit of time to share the shine or this segment. You might just save a life. Thank you. If you liked today's episode, we hope that you'll like us on Facebook and stay connected. You can find us under The Meredith Show there and on Instagram under The Meredith Show. And if you or somebody you know you think will make a great guest, please email us at meredith@themeredithshow.com and my team will set up an appointment right away.